Southeastern Bow Hunter Podcast.
We've got a legend on the podcast tonight. You'll see it in the yeah, JD's got it right. You'll see it in the title, but we got Mr. Michael Perry on here, and if you don't know who he is, dude, you're missing out because this guy,
You're living under a rock.
yeah, 100%. This dude knows what he's doing. He's killed some serious bucks, and it is an honor, man, to have you on here. Honestly, it really, really is.
Well, I appreciate
what's going on?
I appreciate y'all having me on. I really appreciate it. How y'all doing?
Good, man. Like JD
Living
said,
a dream
11
talking
days.
to you now.
Yeah, we got 11 days, so we're getting buckled down, ready to go, and it'll be here before we know it. So,
What part of Georgia y'all at?
I'm over by I'm east of Atlanta in Covington,
Okay.
and then JD's over in Cobb County.
Cobb's
Yep.
around Atlanta. Right? That's the Atlanta area,
yeah.
Cobb. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm about 30 minutes north of Atlanta on the northwest side of Atlanta.
Sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a
I
brother
do have
there.
one quick question before we get started on everything, though.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Did you kill a Tyrannosaurus Rex? I mean, what is that around your neck?
oh,
This is a coastal brown bear, and this is the Arctic grizzly bear. They're both Alaska.
Good
So,
Lord.
yeah. So, yeah, that's the claws. So they're people think big bears or whatever. Them suckers right there. That's 6 times
Holy
black bear's claws. So,
crap.
yeah.
okay. We need to know the story on that. That's insane.
Lord, I wouldn't be able to sleep with that. I'd like impale myself.
right.
Oh man, yeah, but deer hunting, public land is my passion. I mean, that's what I'm all about. But I like doing something different, and I really like something edgy. And brown bear hunting, sleeping in a tent out there in the middle of nowhere, where the only way you can get in there is by a bush plane, and you're in there amongst them big old things. They're top of the food chain, and you got to get them close. And I just love doing stuff like that. So I've done 3 Alaskan trips. Took 2 brown bears, an Arctic grizzly, and a big black bear up there. And then me and my wife and my son have done numerous bait black bear hunts in Canada, and we've killed several of them. My wife's actually got the biggest one of them. She killed a 404-pound black bear with a crossbow in Canada. So we'll do something edgy every now and then. And I like kind of getting out, because doing stuff like that makes you kind of think about other things outside the box, as far as the way animals move and how they use habitat or how they use the wind. So I love doing stuff like that. So,
That's what I'm looking forward to, because I've got my first black bear hunt set up this year in October. So that's going to be fun.
of the mountains of Georgia.
Yep.
Yeah, I will. I know some guys go out there about every year, and a couple of them have killed some. That's some prime area. They say there's some whoppers in there and some big bucks in them mountains too. They say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the guy's property that I'm going to, he's got one that's pushing 350 all day. So if I can get anywhere close to that for my first one would be amazing.
Yeah, a 350-pound black bear is a whopper. So
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, how do you sleep when you're up there though, knowing you've got monsters roaming around? I mean, that's just
I'll tell her, you wouldn't believe it. I don't even get nervous on the bear hunts. Y'all get tore up when a fawn comes out deer hunting, but a bear, they don't make me nervous, not one bit. I tell them guys, listen, when I go to sleep, the only way I wake up whenever that bear is putting his paws on my chest. So, and the guys say, we got it. Sleep in a tent with a couple rifles and pistols.
yeah.
If they really, I was talking to somebody else about this. If they really wanted to get you in the tent, they can smell so good, they'll circle the tent, figure out where your head is by your breath. Then they'll come through that tent on top of your head, and you just, I don't know if you
Good Lord.
Yeah. I've me and JD watched Cam Haynes's grizzly hunt that he dropped a few months ago, and dude, I'm telling you, when he was in front of that thing and drew back, it felt like I was in a deer stand watching the biggest buck of my life walk in front of me. Like it was so nerve-wracking, and I would do it, because I plan on going to Alaska at some point in my life.
Well, I highly recommend it. Cam Haines, I've watched some of his. He's got an old video. One of his buddies that he went scuttling or something that died out there in Alaska. It fell off a mountain or something. But there was a bear hunt with them where they actually, after they shot the boar, they had to shoot the sow because she come up after
Yeah.
them. So
Yeah, I've seen that one too. Crazy,
I mean,
dude.
you got to be prepared because them things can take off faster than a quarter horse and run 40 something mile an hour, climb whatever. There's no way you can get away with them. So you got to be ready to fight or kill them or something. So
Oh, for sure. I mean, me and my wife have watched those videos on YouTube, late at night, just bored, where they're telling like bear attack stories.
yeah,
And some of the things these people do, man, I'm like, how do you go out there knowing there's monsters like a 900-pound bear and you're not gonna bring a gun with you? You're not gonna have it ready whenever you need it. It just blows my mind, dude. It's
yeah.
insane.
They'll get up. Brown bears will push 2,000 pounds in the fall. So the big ones will. So
Oh my god.
yeah. I've killed a pretty big one that weighed around 1,100 and another one about 900. But and that's in the spring, and by the fall time they'll get huge. So
How was that pack out job?
yeah, that's what you got that guide and the guide for. So
Yeah.
you don't do nothing but skin it right there on the site. You can't really do anything else with it. So.
Yeah. How have you? So I'm assuming you've eaten grizzly and brown bear and all that stuff.
They don't. They're deemed inedible. You don't have to eat them.
Really?
They say they taste like a rotten fish. So
Huh.
basically, your brown bear hunting is like your coyote hunting. Your predator hunting. So you're saving baby bears. You're saving baby sheep, baby moose, baby caribou, or other. You're just keeping them up the predators under control. What is basically what that hunting's about. If you could shoot one, they say they just taste awful, but I've never. So black bear knows good. It's real good. So.
Yeah.
I've heard that. I was just about to say that. I've heard that, any other species outside of a black bear is just awful as far as the taste.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And Alaska's got a
That's
rule like a certain day in June that you don't have to eat a black bear after them salmon start running or something because they'll eat them rotten salmon and it makes their meat rancid, so they don't have to eat them then. So.
Yeah, I've always wanted to try that. I've heard Steven Rinella talk about like the blueberry black bear. I want to try that because that seems, I'm just used to eating deer and elk. I mean, my uncle lives in Colorado and he hunts them all the time.
Yeah.
And I was up there last year and had an elk on a grill, and dude, it was so good, so good. But that's all I've ever had, that and deer. So I'm gonna have to try something.
I've not had an elk yet. I've had moose and pronghorn. I've killed pronghorn. I've killed a moose. I've mule deer. That stuff. I've yet to. I've been buying preference points for elk in Wyoming, so it's on the list. But I've yet to eat an elk. I know a lot of people kill them. I'm still kind of waiting till I do that before I eat one. So.
I gotcha. Have you ever had a caribou? You ever caribou hunted before?
That's
See,
on my
the
list.
top of my bucket list.
Yeah, that's on my list.
Yeah, that if I can do that hunt, I'm good. I'll be fine. I can stick to whitetails after that. It's a dream hunt.
Yeah.
But so
that's cool to do that and to have goals like that. I recommend anybody to do something outside your box like that because country we live in, you have those opportunities and availability. So, and with the things that are going on in other places, you might need to be thinking about trying to do that, pretty quick, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. So, if you can do it, I would, if I was a young guy, man, I would think about moving out there because there's such a variety of stuff that you can take. The mountain goat, dog, sheep, moose, black-tailed deer, and all the fishing they got to do. So it's an amazing place. So I would highly recommend everybody trying to do that somehow or another. Even just go visit, carry your wife, just tour around, do a cruise or whatever. So
yeah, I've tried convincing my wife to move out to Colorado. She won't do it. I try a couple times a year and she's like, no. I'm like, but it's nice. We get snow. They've got a bunch of animals I can hunt. It's not too hot most of the time. I mean, it's good, but nope, she doesn't want to do it.
My mom won't either. Grandbabies are down here. She ain't moving away from grandbabies. So.
Yep, that's exactly it. Well, look, man. So what? Before we dive into, I guess the thing that you're the most passionate about, everything everybody knows you for. What got you into hunting? Like, what was your start, and how did you get from that to where you are now?
The first real introduction I got to the outdoors was trapping when we used to live like in a small city, and my dad went from duck hunting to rabbit hunting to trapping, commercial fishing and stuff like that before he moved into deer hunting. And he started deer hunting a little bit. Then trapping got pretty big where you could make decent money at it. So he started doing that, and I was going with him. I was young. I was bicycle age, wasn't even near driving. So, and I begged him, said, "Fix me up some traps. I want a trap." So he fixed me up 4 or 5, and I loaded up on my bicycle and took off. Got outside the city limits, found some farmland with some woods, and started walking creeks. Found me some raccoon tracks, and I set some traps. And the very first night, I caught a big old boar coon, and he'd fixed me up a stick to take care of it with, but he wasn't expecting me to catch anything. But anyway, that raccoon whooped that stick, about whooped me, and we went around that creek before I finally got took care of. And then I was so happy, and that gave me the fire to start doing that and going through that process of keeping trapping. Because even when we moved back to where I was born at in Corbin on 40 acres, and it bordered some backwater, and I trapped a bunch before school, and just learning how their tracks, how they use different edges, how they travel creeks, how they travel, fence lines, cuts, and just a variety of things. And to feel good about being a confident of a trapper, you have to learn how to catch one without any kind of scent. You can catch an animal without any scent. Basically, you're making it put its foot where you want it to put it. And once you could do that pretty good, you're, I'm a decent trapper. So I learned to do that on land trapping and on water trapping without using scent, blind sets and that. So I was kind of parlayed that into when I started getting serious about mature bucks is trying to figure out how they're using areas and where would be the best place to catch them at certain times, because they're such a unique animal and a tough animal to get when they're mature, especially on public land. So that got me into the outdoor stuff. And then deer hunt just like everybody when you're young, and I didn't kill one until I was 20-something years old, and I didn't kill my first good buck until I was 31. So, and my brother killed a monster one, 180. So that fire about the big bucks, changed, and then started trying to figure out how to get big ones or more mature ones. So that puts me to where I'm at today, basically. So,
heck yeah, man. Man, I can't even imagine being that young, just being allowed to run out there and play around in the woods like that. My parents would have been like, "Nope, you're staying with us." They were city folk, so they were kind of weird about it. But
a lot of things have changed, over that time frame. Back then you take off. I took off on a bicycle and do anything, So
yeah,
in a city, but now it's different. But yeah, that's how I grew up doing it. So
heck yeah, man. So basically, like, because I know you killed. I saw your deer just all over the place, man. Didn't you kill like a giant down in Alabama, and it was the state record like 2 years ago or something like that?
Yeah, 2 years ago, the state record non-typical muzzleloader one. I don't know if you can. It's behind me. I don't know if you can see it or not. How's that going? I don't know. Can you see it?
I think it's. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Right there.
Yep.
He was 195, wasn't he?
196 and 3/8. They had a little confusion with
96.
when they were adding up the score on the score sheet, but it's 196 and 3/8. All that got clarified now, so it's
Okay.
pretty good. Big buck, so it's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'd be happy.
So
what
you were talking earlier about trying to figure out your buck patterns and stuff like that on public. Let me ask you a question. I'm hunting on private, and this year is the first year that I actually had a noticeable change compared to last year in their patterns. And I had a question about it. So last year during the early season and right before season, I had, my bachelor group of bucks that would all stay together, until, September, October, then they start going about their own separate ways.
Right.
But last year they stayed on camera all year in bachelor groups, no matter how hot it got or not. This year I had a bachelor group come in August 7th. Was the last time I had pictures of him, and I got a big one I got one that's 150 or bigger. He's my big target buck. Me and my neighbor both been watching him the past 3 years, but this year, August 7th, they came in. They were feeding. I've got a feed site out there. I didn't have one single picture until last night. And the one I had last night was a little bitty forky buck all by himself. Where did my bachelor group go? What are they doing?
Well, if like here was, I'm not as familiar with that, but I have a decent idea. Like last year, say here we had a drought toward the late part of summer, and then the acorn crop, mass crop was none. So, but now everything we've had plenty of rain, everything is so green, and they prefer that natural browse over over the corn piles and feed piles is what I would think. Bachelor groups, from what I've noticed, that especially on public land, the big old dominant one, a lot of times he'll stay in that area. He just runs them other ones off, and you'll still have him in velvet and hardhorn at times. From what I've noticed on the cameras that I run on public land, so that big one, he's probably going to hang around. The rest of them probably going to be gone because he don't want any more competition now. He's done got so mature that he's the boss of the area, I'm assuming. So
Yeah, he's definitely the boss there. But like I said, I couldn't figure it out because last year I had him on camera almost every day last year until October, and then he was gone. So I figured my area that I hunt is his summer area before he'll transition off to his rut area. But this year, way before season, I've already almost lost him. I haven't seen him in this 4 weeks now. I haven't seen him.
Huh. Well, your doe groups, you trying to?
I've got so many does. It's unreal. I've got to take out some does.
Two doe days this year. That's how many does he has. We're doing an early season one and then a late season one to try and knock the numbers down because it is ridiculous.
I've got one picture of over 30 does in one picture.
Well, to me, if that would be the prime thing, is like if I had me a private spot, I wouldn't mess with any kind of doe hunting until after the rut. Way after the rut, let them does be happy, be confident, let them feel secure. Don't mess with them until then they start coming in heat. Then wait for the big bucks to come in. That would be my dream situation. Then after the rut, I'll pick out some does to take out. But I've as much as I've kind of watched over the years, I wouldn't shoot any like the lead does, the old does, because they're the ones that train your deer about coyotes and other predators and people and stuff like that. So take out some of the 1.5 year olds or something, not all of them, but just kind of keep some of the big mature ones that'll keep them in that area, because you kill that big one, and a lot of times they lose. Like, well, who's going to tell us where to go or teach us when the food sources change and stuff like that? So that would be my thought process: to keep them does happy and confident. Don't mess with them until after the rut, and hopefully you'll get you that big 150 or something. Send me a picture.
So you don't think that having too many does will actually hurt my area for rut, because the bucks at that point don't have that one particular doe they're looking for? They're tired of chasing so many.
Well, it could, if it does hurt, but I wouldn't mess with them until after the rut. You know what I'm saying? Thin what you want to thin or what somebody recommends, but I wouldn't mess with it for them. And that's just me, because I've on public land. I've had does, like I know the same doe would bring a buck by me or whatever, so I don't want to, shoot one with a bow and think, dang, that might have been Lucy that brought them 2 10 points by me in back-to-back years. So
Right.
so
Okay. Okay.
if it's somewhere an area that I'm trying to target a big buck, I don't want to mess with anything. I don't even want to know I'm hunting them until it's the right time. My trail camera date over the years, I always wait till them dates come that I'm catching them on in daylight, and then that's when I key in. That monster when I killed with the Mozart, I did not go down there to the actual dates that I had him on daylight and that I knew of for sure, because if you go in there, there's a lot of times they're going to see you or hear you or smell you without you knowing it. Then they've already figured you out, and then they pay attention to how you coming in, and you won't never see them. So I'll wait till the right time, when it's prime, the does are in heat, or you're getting them on the daylight pictures. So.
Yeah, because that's what's still confusing me about my big one that I've got, because he, like I said, that last day on the 7th, he came in twice at daylight. One at 7 o'clock in the morning, one at 4 o'clock in the morning,
Wow.
or 4 o'clock in the evening. But then, like I said, him in particular, I have not seen in 4 weeks. I hope he comes back.
Yeah, I hope so too. That when they get that old, that's the thing about it. They get that old, they've already smelled, heard, and seen so much stuff. They know about when hunting season goes. They know how your neighbor's watching them too. They probably already figured him out. So, and then at night time, they can wander around and see how you're accessing the foot feed out, or how you're accessing the fix your stands or whatever. They can kind of learn all that, keep up with it. My dad always said he knew a deer could count to 3, so they can they can keep three things in their mind anyway. But
Okay.
Huh. That's actually that's pretty good advice because I've kind of lived that in a way. I had a deer last year on one of my public spots that he only daylighted once, and it was like a spot that I went to all the time. And I'm thinking, oh, if I change this feed up or I put this scent out, he'll show up. And he'd show up at night, but he never daylighted except for one day.
Yeah.
And it kind of got me thinking, it's like, well, I'm in there every weekend. I know, because I was getting photos of him at like 6:15, 5 o'clock, around the time that I would be going in. And I was just basing it off a cell cam where I wasn't seeing him in the field. So I'm like, okay, I'm good. But he could have been right there and I never would have seen him. And then he knows when I'm coming in. So it kind of makes sense if you stay out and just wait until you get that first daylight photo. He doesn't even know you're in there.
Yeah, don't let him pattern you. The more you go in there, it's a lot easier for him to pattern you. The hard horn picture is the best picture you can get, daylight or dark. It don't matter. And hard horns are there for a reason. So any daylight picture, hard horn during the season, that time frame, because he could be coming through there at other times, because most of the time, especially on public, they don't always travel the same way. But they're still daylight, and they might be 30 yards down or behind the camera or whatever. So that time frame is just so key to me that I wait for that. So it just took years to learn that. And on private land or something that you got that you're working on your own, I'm hoping, with your cameras you run year round, is kind of figure out a good timeline and when to mess with them, when not. Because them big boys, those are a whole different animal. So I always try to be as careful as I can, maybe over careful, scent control, access, all that. Just try to take all that to an extreme. And once I kind of figured out a system that works for me, that's kind of what I go by. And if I don't have that much luck during the season, I don't really worry about it, because, sooner or later I still have the luck. It's just you just got to make your luck, at the right time. So.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I really had to rein myself in a bit because I was going every single weekend last year. Same spot, same access, same times and all of that. And it went from seeing deer for a month to seeing one deer in 4 months.
Yeah.
So it was kind of obvious what happened.
Yeah. I'm a big believer like accessing the same way in and out, but I don't want to cross any kind of trails. I got a way of doing it, or try to make sure that that's the way I do it. When I set a camera up on somewhere I think I can hunt, I'm always got in my mind that I can hunt here. Like when I put a camera out, I'm not just putting cameras out just for, data or for inventory. I want to know when they come through there, when I can hunt it, in the daylight. So I'm positioning that camera in a way that I can get there to hunt somehow or another, in and out, without crossing too many trails or any trail if I can help it, and staying with that strategy. The less intrusion, the better.
Gotcha. So for JD's situation, what do you recommend? He just wait until the first hard horn picture, or
that would be me. He's talking about bait piles, and I've heard people talk about that got cell cams. Like if you got cell cams at work, just wait until you get an actual picture of that of him with a cell cam in the daylight, and then make sure your batteries are fresh before your season starts. The camera's in good shape, and then make sure your feeder or whatever it is full before about that time frame you think, and then wait till that sucker shows up in daylight, then make you move in. That would be what I would do, I would think.
Okay. So do you use mock scrapes?
Do I use what?
Mock scrapes?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you do when you've got because I know JD's using them, I'm using them, a lot of our buddies are using them. Like right now, or maybe in the next, well, I guess right now is probably a good time around us. If you make a mock scrape, say tomorrow, get a couple of photos, it rains, you go back out. How often do you freshen up your mock scrapes? Like if you're not getting a ton of deer to show up to it, say they're not taking to it as hard or whatever, how often would you go in there to refresh it, but also not put too much pressure?
If I think they take it over, that's the biggest thing is I want to do it once they start it, they kind of take it over. Then I don't want to mess with it no more. Let them freshen it up. The initial thing, if they don't take to it and don't like it, then it might not be in the right exact spot that they're used to, or that style. So that would be what I do. Is it's just like the feed or whatever. Is the less intrusion, the better. Once you get them started and they take it over, then leave it alone. So
Gotcha. Yeah, because I've been having issues, man. I've got one spot that, like on public, I haven't really had any problems. I made a couple, shoot, man, back in June, and I could send you photos. I had quite a few deer out there on this field where the mock scrape was, and they were, around it, hitting it, all that stuff. Now, one of my private spots, I've probably freshened it up a few times, and they're not even messing with it.
wow.
So
Yeah,
it might be a location issue. I didn't even think about that, to be honest.
It's kind of got like a thermal hub. Food plots is a totally different thing. And I've not tried anything kind of out of the box, but I'm trying to think of the guy out west that he's involved, like with buck fever synthetics or something like that. He's got a concoction of stuff that he uses that like to get off the gland of the head that they put their head in them limbs that's above the scrape. So, Troy Pottinger, Pottinger, yeah, he's real knowledgeable about stuff like that more than I. I'm just started playing with that some over the last couple of years, and a lot of it was I was trying different scents that people are saying this is the perfect scent, and I've not really had any luck with any kind of rut scents putting them on scrapes doing that. Now, the glands that's from the deer's head and stuff like that, I would think that would be the best route to go on using that stuff because it's hard to imitate a real doe and heat thing, and plus know the exact time frame that you need to be doing it. If you're trying to set the scrape up something to hunt, and you want to do it before season starts or in the initial part of the season, it's hard to put the right scent in there. So that head scent would be the best thing. Some kind of buck head scent would be the best thing to do some limbs or some people are using some kind of rope or vine or something now that they're doing. So that would be something I would be more interested in trying because I didn't have any kind of consistent luck using any kind of doe and heat thing. I've done that a bunch right through the season. I put a camera out on an established scrapes and I made some using tinks or just a variety of different kind of scents. And I didn't really have anything to say, this is what I need to do. Now, for the other scent, like for while I'm hunting, I really like the misting. Something like if I get to my tree or if I'm walking my tree and there's a breeze blowing, I do a dominant buck and a doe and heat misting. Just one blast, just let it drift.
Oh, yeah.
But, I'm not a big fan of a drag rag because I don't want something tracking me in my tree. So I've had them happen too many times. They track you to your tree, you go on a buck or something, that sucker's going to figure you out for too long, start stomping, blowing, or whatever. I just don't want anything tracking me to my tree, and I can't hear that good. And a big buck will sneak up there without you even knowing it most of the time, figure you out and be gone without you even knowing about it. So, but the misting sense is something I've had success with bow hunting, like 3-year-olds, not no monster bucks yet, but I've had 3-year-olds come in with a misting scent, lips curled and flaming. I had one that was doing snort wheeze and stuff like that coming in, so that would be, but as far as the scrape stuff, the head gland stuff, that stuff is real interesting to me as far as getting it kind of established and them hanging in there with it.
Yeah, I can definitely say that stuff works because my favorite spot on this public land by the house, I made a mock scrape last year with some of that pre-orbital stuff, and that's all I used. I just scraped the ground, sprayed it, and that was it. This was like mid-October. Dude, there was probably 6 or 7 shooters that showed up. One of them had to have been 4 or 5 years old.
Wow.
Wasn't daylight, it was right before daylight, but I saw the direction he went in, and
Right.
You can kind of figure out, at least sort of guess a little bit where they're going to be going. So yeah, I think that I think that head gland stuff really is something that people should probably use more of. Because, like you just said, a lot of people think, oh, you just get a bottle of tinks, or you get whatever, the new thing is.
Yeah.
You just spray it out there. Spray that doe and estrus in November and they'll come to you. But I haven't seen that. I've tried it.
Yeah, it takes most, my strategy is more multiple things, not just one thing. There's no total complete secret, always put yourself in a position where multiple factors is giving you a better chance, So the mock scrape close to a bedding area or a thermal hub or 4 or 5 pinches coming together or just anything like that, 2 or 3 trails crossing, the more things you've got that's giving you the better odds is my strategy. I don't like hunting single trails much or a single anything, a single feed trail. I'm not a big fan of that. But that's just me. I'm not saying it can't be done, but I like putting more odds in my favorites. And
Yeah, I'll take your advice on public land over a lot of people because I've seen what you've done, man.
Yeah. So for some more advice on public land for some of the newer guys like me and Eric that are starting, to branch out to public a little bit more this year and in the next few years, I think. Are you necessarily worried about what some of our generation I've heard on the internet has said as far as, oh, I've got to go 8 miles back? Or are you just wanting to go in and focus on the pressure points because it's public and there's going to be pressure? Are you hunting a pressure point or are you making the 8 mile trip back?
Sometimes it's a pressure point, but it don't have to be the 8 miles or the long way. It's somewhere that a deer feels safe or a buck feels safe or a group of does feel safe. It's just rugged territory. It might be right beside the road, or it might be just some odd place that it ain't always just far back. But bucks, even over time, they figure out in places on public land the best place to be, the best advantage, because most of the time, mature buck, when he beds, whatever, he's got some kind of sight line advantage where it's almost impossible for you to get in front of him. And coming from behind him, he's going to have the wind coming straight down over his back, or a bunch of stuff behind him, a bluff or a bunch of blow down. He's built or found a spot that's almost impenetrable by a human. So just finding places like that, and then I start out by trying to find a big track, and then try to figure out why that track is there. Just once I find one, no matter what it is, stop and ask a bunch of questions. Why is it here? Why is it pointed that way? Why is it coming from that way? Or why is it down on the low? Why is it up high? Why is it by this edge? Or a bunch of factors, trying to figure out why that buck is there. Then look at topo maps and stuff like that. So it don't have to be. You don't have to make long hikes, but it needs to be. Well, there's two main things. If you're rut hunting, which is to me the best chance of killing a monster, most of the time is the rut, which it's kind of. Also, the rut gives you options that a buck could come from anywhere, chicken doe group. So keeping up with the doe groups is one thing, and then isolated places where a big buck has the chance to catch you, or it has the advantage over you, and then stay on the edge of that without letting him know you're there, and then hopefully you can catch him coming out. And trail cameras are usually, if you can get in the right spot, is give you an idea once he starts daylighting. Some of them might not ever daylight. A lot of them die of old age more than people think. I really believe, but it's just don't overthink yourself, and don't think you got to do one certain thing. It's a variety of stuff, So you can ride around.
I got you.
If you've got time, you can ride around, say on the opening gun hunt or opening hunts. If you got dirt roads or Wakefoot Range or whatever, and see, first off, you see where everybody parks at, and second off, is see where anything's crossing roads at or wet spots, and try to see what they're doing when people come in. So that's another thing you can do. But best advice is best advice is kind of figure out what you want to shoot. You want to shoot a 120 or a 150, then if your state has them deer, or if the public land around you has that type of deer, understand that, make sure it's a realistic goal for that area. And then people talk, so you'll find out about what areas hold big ones or when big ones get killed at. Then learn that area as best you can, a couple miles square. Learn every bit of it. As soon as the season's over with, walk it. As long as there's not any leaves on, just keep walking it until summer. And I don't do much scouting in the summer, but learn all you can after season, because a lot of that data that's still left, the sign, tells you a lot about what's happened during that year. So write that stuff down, document it, whatever, and keep up with it. It might take you a couple of years to start picking a pattern or figuring a pattern out. But the more you can learn about your area, how deer use it, where the doe groups is at, droppings is a key thing for me in tracks. So, rubs tell a lot, as long as they're, you understand how tall your deer are or whatever. A taller rub is generally a more mature buck. So it don't have to be a big old tree, but taller. The more height they got, it's a bigger deer. So.
Right. I got you.
I thought about looking at like droppings and stuff, which you think that would just kind of be like an obvious thing. But every time I've scouted, I'm always looking for like feed trees. And this is early season, but feed trees, trails, scrapes, and then obviously in the rut,
You find a
scrapes,
big old,
rubs.
if you find a big old buck dropping, it's usually some kind of compacted looking. It's almost like a human.
Yeah,
Them little pellets, the little pellets you find all over the place, it's mostly does or young bucks. Them big old, man-sized compacted droppings, that's a big deer. So, and some of them's hard to find, but you find that. I mean, that's almost like finding gold. He was there for a reason. He spooked there for a reason. So, that's just
That-
critical information. So,
yep,
That's something I've heard too, is that does and young fawns or yearling bucks, they'll kind of, crap wherever.
yeah,
But I've heard that an older mature deer, he'll pee wherever, but he'll actually, from what I've heard, he'll only crap where he's comfortable and where he's typically around.
I believe that, but you just don't find it everywhere. It's just every now and then you see
Right.
it. And I believe that whenever they get up and get out of their bed and stretch and do all that, it might be somewhere close to that. So it's just like, most
Exactly.
people
Yeah.
coffee or whatever, that first 20 minutes, because he ain't going to get up and just take off unless he's kicked up. He's going to get up and kind of look around, smell everything, wait for a breeze to hit him. Most times they can wait for any kind of breeze to change before they even think about moving or going anywhere, because they want updated information because they've been there for a while. So
Yep.
then they crap, use the bathrooms, and it's generally going to be in that area most of the time. So
that makes so much sense, dude. Because that deer I was telling you about on private from last year, every time I'd go in to put more food out or even go hunt, because there's a few different spots. It's only 7 acres, but it backs up to like 200. So,
right,
it's kind of, I'm expecting him to walk a long ways, and he would do it. But I'd be walking to my stand or I'd be going to put feed out, and there'd be just giant logs. Just, you knew it was from him. And I'm like, bro. But I didn't think about the fact, like what you just said, they're going to get up, wait a minute, check the wind, and then they're going to go. They're not just going to, go off too far and then drop.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
I mean, it's about I run cameras year round, and strategic places, and they don't hardly ever just get up and just walk around for no reason. The mature buck though, you don't hardly see any kind of pictures of them until the right time of year rut, maybe a little bit pre-rut. They're learning how to live. A friend of mine I talked to not too long ago, he said they became a professional survivalist by then, so they ain't walking around and get killed. They're trying to stay there. They've learned how to stay alive, and their movement is very limited unless they get kicked up or a doe's in heat. The big mature bucks have already got their bodies back fat. We live in the South. They don't, weather don't make our bucks move and eat. They don't get that cold. They can wait till night every day if they wanted to. So, so they don't have to move until the rut. If they want to move, some of them might wait for the doe to come to them. Some of how they ain't got the does trained to them. They come to his area. So
yeah.
They're just so much of a different animal. You got to kind of think out of the box a little bit and be strategic. And cameras will kind of, and trust your gut. Cameras always has kind of helped me with my gut. That's what's mainly that's helped me a lot. I think this is happening. I think this is happening. I put a camera there and it gets verified. Then that helps you build your confidence up. So just like your buddy there's got the 150 on camera, so that right there gives you enough confidence to know you're in the right area. You got the right land, so that there's no reason to really get too carried away or overthink yourself, and just make a strategic plan and stick with it. That's the biggest thing, is stick with your plan, be confident, and don't overthink yourself. Don't worry. Oh, Jim Bob killed 160 yesterday. I got to do something. So don't freak out over what everybody else kills. So stick with your plan and be confident.
Yeah, I mean, I think for his situation,
yeah.
what I'm thinking, and this is just from listening to you, Troy, I've talked to T-Bone about it. Like, I've talked to a lot of the people that have been doing this for a while and know what they're talking about. And I've always heard that if you don't have bucks now, so like you had, you're talking about King Louis, right?
Yes.
You're talking about Ian. Which one?
No, I'm talking about King Louis.
Louis? Okay. If Louis gone now, he didn't show up till when? Last year? Late October?
Last year he showed up. I had him on camera in July and August, and then he was gone until October. I had one picture of him in October, and it was at night, and then I never saw him again. This year I've seen them. I've seen them in July. I've seen them now August 7th, and that was the last time I saw them. But I had another conversation with someone else, and maybe y'all can help me out with this. Mike, maybe you might be able to give me a little bit more insight on this. What are your thoughts on? I know we're all in velvet right now, as far as our bucks, and a couple they're starting to get hard horned a little bit further south. But I've heard through some conversations that when they start shedding their velvet, it is extremely painful for the deer, and they will actually damn near go without food and everything that they need for weeks because they're locked down in one position trying to get all that velvet off before they start moving again.
Huh. I've not really heard that exactly. I do know most of the time the big ones, whenever they start shedding it, they'll have that stuff going within a day. Is what
Okay.
I've understood, but and it might be painful. I'm not sure, but I do know they get it off there quick and they eat most of it, so it's just look at it, protein or whatever. So, but I've not really heard that. I just know that most of the time your bachelor group, as soon as they start shedding, things have changed. You know, some of them stay together. That big one, the big dominant one, most of the time, like the monster when I killed, he kept one kind of with him, but he didn't tolerate nobody else. And I don't really know why he kept the one with him, but the rest of them they wanted gone. Because he's the king of the area. He don't trust 4 or 5 of them. He just maybe keep one with him. But the rest of them they run off. So kind of understand how your area lays in with the rest of it, because mature bucks or bucks like some kind of hump, some kind of vantage point to bed, so they're going to spread out over the next couple miles away from you, but they still going to know where them doe groups are, to come back and check. So when you get set up to rut hunt, whatever, kind of keep that in mind where they could be coming from to check your doe groups, the deer that has been pushed off. So
I got you. And what's funny is you were talking about how I could, potentially blow them out, by me putting stands out and, all that kind of stuff. My big one that I've got, King Louis, the one I'm talking about, he didn't show up on camera on my camera this year. He showed up on my neighbor's camera, but he didn't show up on my cam until the day I put my ladder stand out. Then that's when he came in and fed.
Huh. Wow, that's something. I don't know if it just so happened to happen that way, or if he heard something and I'm gonna come over and check it out. Was it at night when he come in, or?
No, he came in during the day at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Wow. I don't know. That's they're like I say, them suckers live old for some reason. They got if I knew exactly what they were doing, I'd have a lot more bacon skills. But everybody.
Well, you've got more than both of us combined, so that's why we're coming to you.
I think both these deer combined might go up to like one of your smaller ones. So
yeah,
that's some nice bucks,
Hey, I'm happy with them. This one right here. Where's my hand going? That guy, that dude. If I could that one.
One in the corner.
What's that?
The one in the corner up high.
Yeah. He actually wasn't the deer I was trying to kill last year. That's my first bow buck. That one on the couch was a crossbow, and then I think this one over here was a crossbow.
Wow.
I've honestly only killed 4 or 5 deer in 5 years. So I mean that should show like I've been trying to learn and get better at it. But he showed up the second week of season last year, and he wasn't even my target buck. He showed up with my target buck, but I couldn't get a shot. And then I realized he had 3 brow tines on one side. So I was like, I'm just going to shoot that guy. But it goes to what you were saying.
That's a nice buck. I wouldn't pass it up with a bow especially. So ain't nothing wrong with that buck at all, So
that means so much coming from you. It really does, man.
It's so.
Hey, show him mine.
So, which one, Louis?
Show him that one. My latest one.
Give me 10 minutes so I can find this photo.
I just want to see what you think about mine.
Well, I'm saying on public land, like the last one I've shot on public land with a bow was that big wide one. I killed a 20-something inch wide one. That's been 3 years, I think, ago. So I don't get a shot of a big one then with a bow or a decent one with a bow every 3 or 4 years on the public land I'm hunting, because it's that daggum hard. Now I pass up a bunch of 2.5-year-olds, 15 to 20 of them a year. So it's because I just trying to get the next level maybe. So, but
right.
so it's just that's just part of what you want to do. And I don't tell anybody what kind of goals they should have, whatever makes you happy. I've shot plenty of spikes. I went last year meat hunting a place and shot the first buck to come in. It hadn't been a 3-year-old, just a goofy rack, wasn't nothing to brag about, but I didn't care if it was a spike.
Hey, I'm the same way. If it makes you excited, shoot it.
Yeah.
Sometimes
my buddy sent me a photo of a spike today, and he was like, "This is my target buck." I'm like, "Hey, that's a nice 11 point, dude. Well, that's a booner."
Yeah.
So while I'm looking for this photo, what because season is, at least I don't know when y'all's comes in. I want to say it comes in like late September, October. But for us, it's next week. Early season, what are you looking for? I know people say feed trees. I know that's like the basic thing, but what do you, when you go into scout, what are you looking for? Like terrain, sign? I mean, what's your ideal thing that you try to find every year?
I go back to just kind of history of what I've been lucky with, whatever. The most luck I've had early season bow hunting has been in the evening. And
Okay.
so I'm generally looking at terrain where bucks kind of bed above, or specifically looking for tracks coming off of hills or points going down and crossing a creek or something that are fresh, and then try to figure out if I can do that. And I'll try to find as many of them places as I can early season, because like you say, ours opens end of September, 1st of October, and I've got until Halloween basically to like early season hunt one. But the way I work swing shift, I've only got say 6 or 7 days top. So,
Okay.
and I'm looking for an evening place where I know where a fresh track is coming off a hill, going to cross, going to whatever they're going to do, and try to set up on that. If it's a morning place, if I find something confident, there's maybe a bed that's close to some acorns, like isolated acorn trees, something in thick cover or something close to thick cover, and be on the same level with them in the morning going back to bed, hopefully. But that's tough because I've been busted, I know, without even hearing them or whatever, because I only give them places a couple of times, because you can get busted so easy because they're usually in the morning, they're already getting close to their bed or back to their bed early season. So then mature ones, you might catch them younger ones, but my best luck is evening. Just find something I can get to in the evening where they're coming down to go possibly to water if it's dry, or going down to start making their nightly rounds, or maybe if you can find a good scrape by then, or a scrape line early season, that. But generally something like that where I'm thinking they're coming down from the bed to go to make a move. So.
Okay. Yeah, because I'll
So
be
what's
doing
your-
a lot of morning hunts early season, because our season up in around here is only 3.5 weeks, and I can only hunt on the weekends. And I'll go in the evenings, but I've got this one deer that I'm really hoping I can get him opening evening, because he just consistently, I figured him out. You put feet out that night, and the next night he will be there in daylight. So that's kind of the plan. But public land's so much different because I don't have any cell cams out there.
Yeah,
So.
if you can find even a early food plot, or a persimmon tree or something like that, you can find a buck. But most of them places, I'm only gonna give them a time or two early season and move on to another one, because because in the evening, you got to climb down in the dark and you don't know where they at. That dark is their life. So I'm only gonna give them a couple shots, and I'm moving on to something else, and until I'm getting ready for my rut hunting stuff. So just be, I would highly recommend early season is be real flexible and move, be mobile and be ready to move, and not just give a couple shots, move on to something else. The more stuff you can find early and then do that, whether it's feed trees, persimmons, the feed that you got, or a food plot that nobody else is messing with, just stuff like that. Something that when mass crops drop, that's like somebody opening an ice cream shop or whatever. It's been closed for years, so they want to get in there and get it, so.
Yeah.
So that, keep that kind of theory, that thought process up, and just kind of play that. But be real. I move around a lot early season. So.
Gotcha. JD,
what is your main distinguishing factor between an evening stand area versus a morning stand area?
90% of the time in the morning, I'm going to be higher up in the elevation, and most of the time in the evening, I'm low. Because trying to play but most times if I catch a deer or a buck in the evening, it's right that dark, and it's that when that thermal switch is. So kind of stay on the shady side of the area, and and trying to catch that where I know a fresh track has come down, but in the evening, 90% of the time I'm in the bottom. So
Gotcha.
morning.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I just wanted to make sure I was on the same page with you with the thermals. You know, the thermals rise in the morning, they fall at night. Yeah, I was just wanting to make sure we're on the same page with that. Okay.
Now, some of that, now, depending on where you're hunting at, if you're hunting a lot of hill country, sometimes we got places up here, the thermals will fall all the way.
Yeah, yeah, it does depend. Yeah, but see, mine where I'm at is
Yours is like totally
I've got
flat, dude.
yeah, I've got a creek, but all of my land it's I'm in a suburb. I'm in behind a neighborhood. But the patch of woods that is there, I've got a grand total of maybe 100 acres. It's all wood, but there's great feed trees. There's crap ton of trails, but it's like Eric was saying, it's all flat. I can't work the terrain like I want to, on a couple of public spots that I will, but on my private side, it's all flat.
Yeah. Flat ground's a whole different thing. I hunt some flatter ground, but I still try to find some kind of little bit of elevation where I think, or thickets, thickets and elevation, any kind of little bit of humps or, ridges or higher spots. You see, you got creeks in that area, you said? So
yes, sir, I do.
Yeah, so creek crossing I love creek crossings and kind of playing a creek crossing in with some kind of edge change or some kind of funnel. And generally I'll try, so if I'm going to hunt a creek crossing, the does usually cross in one place and the bucks always, not always, but I think they always generally cross downstream, and that's like because that water moving downstream kind of makes a pull.
Yeah,
They'll cross below that, and then they can pick up a doe in heat or just.
yeah. I hunted a creek a creek crossing last year, and I was able to get 2 does off of that creek crossing last year. So I do definitely use my creek crossing.
You know that there's that feed tree that I was sitting right next to. I didn't even know it was a feed tree till I was already up there, and it's right by that creek crossing. Mike, I'll send you a video of this. I'm like 10 feet up, maybe, because that's as high as I could go. There was cover and everything, right? And it was the funniest thing. I didn't see anything all day. This is, what was it, like late to mid-October that we went out and hunted?
Mid-October. Yep.
Yeah. I don't see a thing. I'm sweating. I got yellow jackets flying around because I'm using nose jammer, so I smell like a vanilla ice cream bar. And dude, this little forky comes walking out 30 yards and he stares dead at me. And I'm thinking, crap, the only deer I see, he's going to run off. And I look over and there's this apple tree right next to me. He does not care that I'm there. He sees me. He just comes walking up, starts feeding on the apples, and goes behind me. So you could try that.
Yeah.
But I did find the photo. So if you want to see it, this is
my 150. That I think it's a 150.
Yeah, we talked to BJ and them 2 weeks ago, and they said probably 150.
BJ Davis.
Yeah, BJ and Cheeto.
Yeah, Cheeto and yeah, good guys right there.
Oh, I love those guys.
Dang, yeah. I don't care what he scores, he's a whopper.
Yeah, that's those Atlanta Bucks, man.
That's a big buck.
But that picture right there was taken at 4:00 in the evening, daylight, and 96 degrees outside, and August 7th. But that was the last time I saw him, and I want him to come back so bad. I haven't seen a buck on cam in 4 weeks.
Wow, that's a big buck.
Michael, would you agree? Would you agree though that like for that spot? Because me and JD had this conversation last year, because he and I both, when it's deer season, we want to be out there, and we're not too good at not going. So would you say, at least for a deer like that, and where he was getting photos of him and where he saw him last year, to maybe try to stay out of that area till mid-October, do some mock scrapes, maybe put a little bit of feed out to try and pull him in? But I mean, I kind of look at his place, like JD's place, as public land. Just public land you can feed on because it's so big, and there's not a lot of pressure. What would you do?
So I'm not familiar with the feeding stuff that much, but my thing is this. I'll tell you, this big buck that I killed, I had him on camera 2 years. I had 2 years of information telling me that the first week of November, he was daylighting. So what I did is I hunted somewhere else. I wanted to go. I'm just like y'all. When it opens up, I'm hunting somewhere. So But I did not mess with that deer until I knew that time frame come that he was daylighting. So I hunted somewhere else. And I mean, it worked out perfect. I could say I planned it, whatever. And I did. I had it kind of planned in my mind. I told somebody I want to kill him with a muzzleloader, and it worked. It don't, them bucks, you just don't put them, if he waits till he's daylighting or whatever, then try it then. Try go hunt somewhere else. It'd be my thought. Find somewhere else hunting till the right time on him. And try to find 3 bucks like that if you can. And maybe play at others. But I don't know what all kind of areas y'all hunting. But we kind of trace the rut here. So once it gets past a certain point, I'm going to move on to a different area where the rut's fixing to start kicking up. So, but I just try to be strategic about that. And be patient. As big as he is, I can understand. Yeah, I would try to kill him too somehow or another. Hey, I had a monster one last year he ain't gonna score a whole lot, but he's a big old crazy buck. And I went in early one time, and I didn't see him, and I had a dang coyote come up. I had the wind in my face, and I had a coyote come up straight in front of me. I don't know if it's some kind of funky thermal going down, but that coyote got even with me. It was like he slapped him in the nose with a paddle. He's done a flip trying to get out of there. So, but when I went ahead and stayed because if a buck got to that point, I could shoot him. But I didn't go back down there the rest of the year because I was afraid that my thermals were messing him up. So I never seen him, but I ain't even got him on camera this year. I checked some cameras in that area last week, first time since February, and got a couple other good bucks. But I've been having this buck regular every year, and I ain't got no pictures of him now. I don't know if he died of old age or what, but he's a freak. So I just got more patient now in my older age, and have learned a lot of hard lessons. That of things what not to do, just like a lot of people. So just patience is more to me. You're gonna have some other people that that are real good at, say, Dan M. Fald or maybe that May guy, Andy May or whatever, just that like sneaking up and finding where the bed at and doing that. I just ain't good at doing that. So I'm good at screwing stuff like that up. So find you a way to couple with that fits the way you want to hunt and do that, but just be patient. So.
Gotcha. So JD, what are you gonna do?
I am unfortunately going to be stubborn because I work out of town Monday through Friday. I'm only home on the weekends, so I'm hunting the weekends. I've got several spots and I've got a climber, so I'll be more mobile this year and try and play my wind better. But I'm still hunting every weekend because that's what I have.
Well, and you could try public land. You've got some public land, don't you?
Yeah. I've got 3 different WMAs I can go to that are all within an hour. So I can definitely do a public this year. And like I said, at that 150 or whatever acres that it is, I've got 4 or 5 spots. But even if I stay on the one spot, which is only 25 acres, that's still 25 acres I can move around from my one feeder station, and I can just play the wind and be more mobile. But I am going to still hunt every weekend just because that's the only time I have.
I get it.
Yeah, and I do that. I just say and try to, and if you're going to try to concentrate on him, trying to figure out a way to get him, say early season, the first day, whatever you can, along the wind's right, try him a time or two, and then if you're going to try to push it more, change things up, different times,
right,
or whatever. Don't get too patternable somehow or another, and maybe hunt somewhere else where try to figure out where he's coming from, bedding them. I'm sure the camera stuff is kind of giving you an idea where you think it might be coming from. So
I've got a little bit of an idea. Yeah.
Try to pick him off before he gets to the feeder, maybe. So.
Gotcha.
I gotcha. Okay.
So,
okay,
Michael, what kind of cameras are you running? Are you running cell cams or like the old school, just pull a card and check it later? I mean, what do you do? Like, what's your camera strategy, I guess?
My main camera strategy is the old school pull your card. I pull a card in February, check batteries. When I go do all that postseason scouting, I'll carry cameras with me. And if I find somewhere that's in a new area that's interesting, I'll put cameras out then, and I won't check them again until August. And that's not. And the only reason I'm really doing that is to change the batteries out, make sure the battery's good, change the card. Then, but I want to see what's happening during the hunting season. So, but that's what I use is just the regular old style. I got some cell cams. I had some tack cams, and I had bad luck with them getting water in them. And I want to. My theory on the cell cam is I don't want to be messing with them. I want somebody to leave out there for nearly a year without and just kind of give me data, whatever. I don't want to have to go in. And they said that, well, if you need to do something. I said I don't want the antenna about to come loose or whatever. To me, you got to build them waterproof, or rain shouldn't get in them. But anyway, this year I've got some stealth cam cell cams. I've got 6 of them, but I've only got 1 put out right now. It's so hard for me to find signal that'll work.
Right.
So
Right.
I've only got 1 cell cam out right now. So, and I got several of the old school. I'm a real big fan of stealth cam and Browning of the regular cameras. So
Yeah, I'm running the stealth
So
cam.
if you're running the old school pull your card type and you're waiting from February to August, how big of a memory card are you putting in that thing?
either 32 or 64, but if I get 1,000 pictures, that's because something wind's blowing. I just don't get that many pictures. So I don't.
Oh, okay.
I'm not putting them on a food plot or anything at some kind of pinch point, some kind of edge above a creek crossing, stuff like that, where you're not. If I had one that had 500 or 600 pictures and a bunch of it was deer and stuff over time frames, and I put them on 3-shot to 5-shot burst. That kind of gives you like a movie. Versus I got friends that put them on video mode, but the batteries won't last as long. But so I put them on 5-shot burst, and it's very rare that I'll have over 400 or 500 pictures. That's deer.
Okay. That's what I was wondering, because I got one that is an old school. I've got 1 cell cam, and then in the rest of my cameras, I've got 4 other cameras, but they're all the old school pull your card. But I guess with the volume of, like we were talking about earlier, the volume of does that I have, I don't know if it's the same one over and over again a lot of the times, or if it's just because I have so many. But I'll go in there, and every week I have at least 3,000 pictures a week.
That's something.
Ooh.
Yeah,
what is that behind you?
Oh, that's the bow kill.
Yeah.
Good Lord, man.
Yeah, that was my goal in my whole life, is kill one that would make Pope and Young, and I killed him 3 years ago.
That's my goal.
Yeah,
that's my goal.
How big did you say he was?
He grossed 141 and something. So
okay.
He's
I
got
thought you said 120s earlier. I'm like, that's not 120s, man. There's
he's
no way.
I mean, he's a 9-point, this 21.5 inside spread, 25-inch beams. You didn't have real long time. Mass is decent, but he's a 5-year-old buck. He's a whopper. I mean, and he made Pope and Young. So that just blew me away, doing it on public land. So it's just
yeah, that is awesome, dude. So going back to the trail camera thing, because you got me thinking. I've heard some people say that deer will, and this is usually during the rut, but deer will usually, if you've got a camera out on public, let's just say that, we'll make a scenario here. You've got a camera on a scrape, you got this buck that daylights. In that season, you don't know he daylights because you're not checking the camera. But you go there, maybe you see him, maybe you don't get a shot, whatever. Season's over, you go pull that camera, you check the data, and you see November, let's say 5th through the 9th, he daylighted every single day. Didn't daylight after that, didn't daylight before that. Would you use that information for the next year and then say, okay, he daylighted then, this is when I'm going to go in?
Yeah, that's mainly what I'm doing. I might have left that out. Is that trail camera information is always for the next season. One buck, if he come by 4 or 5 times, you dang right. I'm going to wait till them days now, but I'll be there for 5 days in a row if I can, bow hunting and gun hunting, just depending on what we only have specific days we can gun hunt.
Really?
You can only say there'll be like 3-day gun hunts or 2-day gun hunts or 4-day gun hunts, but it's not all week. And it might be every other week. There's only like 3 or 4 gun hunts in these places. The rest of it's bow hunt, maybe a muzzleloader hunt. So, so that's how that one there. That was in between gun hunts when I killed that one, the bow at Biggins. And 3 days later, I killed a 137 on a gun hunt, same man there, but a different area. But yeah, you dang right, I would be there. And the ones I really love is when you have 4 or 5 different bucks that come through in the daylight within a 2-week period. That's the key area I'm looking for, is something where multiple bucks come through using that pinch point, going to check doe groups during that rut time frame. And that's them places are hard to find, but that's one you want. So
Gotcha.
That
Well, I
buck,
might do that this year because
that
that
buck
sounds like a good
killed
plan.
the buck right there. I killed him above a creek crossing, but there were 4 other bucks that I was actually had on camera. I didn't even have this guy on camera. So, and I mean that's what you want, the area that they're using, the bucks are using to check them doe groups, and you don't know that deer was. They had him on camera like 3 or 4 miles away, and he was coming through. He was actually trailing a doe when I killed him. So it's just finding them places that's ready for the right time, and then wait until that time frame to do it without any kind of intrusion is what I try to do. So I'm trying to plan everything a year in advance, basically. So
Yeah. That's probably what I'll end up doing because I've got, I think, 4 cameras out on public right now. One of them is actually in a creek crossing. I need to go check it on Friday, just because I have no idea what's going on there. I don't know where they're coming from. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
And then there is one, like I said earlier, there is a special spot. I saw this one. He had to have been all of 140, 150. But like you said earlier, they'll sneak up on you. You don't hear them. And I'm
Yeah.
facing the wrong way, and it's in November. So, I do like the whole, I listened to, he's from Alabama, I think. His name's like Richard Falk or something like that.
Richard Fott, he's from,
Yeah, yeah. And he was on, because I actually, where I heard about you was on the Southern Outdoorsman podcast. And so listen to you, listen to Richard. Richard's got this like grunt sequence that
Yeah.
he does where it's like, brah, 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 in circles for 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever. Yeah, like I mean, literally, dude. I'll have to send you a link to the episode. It's crazy, but
I have listened to a bunch of his. He says he's grunting all the time. And I do a grunt sequence. It's very rare that I do a single grunt, but during the rut or whatever, I just 3 times at least.
yeah,
Then maybe the bleat call before that. The only time I'll do a single grunt is if I see a buck that's easing across somewhere it's going away from me, then I'll throw out a single grunt trying to get him to stop and then see what he does. And then I've done that sequence before, and I've had younger bucks come running in. So
gotcha.
I'm not he does a lot of blind calling, and I don't. It's very rare for me to do a bunch of blind calling. It's just something's got to be going on to make me call most of the time. So if I do blind calling, it will be with that can, turn that can over, and do that 3 grunt sequence.
Yep.
But it's generally because I've heard something that I think or seen something that gives me to do that. I rattled one in this past season, that first decent one that I rattled in. I heard some squirrels doing something that was kind of funky. There's something going on. So I done 2 light rattles, not real crazy aggressive, but just like clanking and kind of grinding. And after about 5 or 10 minutes after the second one, he come up sneaking, trying to figure out what's going on. I got him. So a 4.5-year-old with an 18.5-inch spread, a nice one, biggest one I'd ever rattled in that I was successful on. I've been busted a few times, and that's just, I have no problem with anybody doing any of that. It's just what you're comfortable with. He does. I think if I'm right, he keeps like a Crown Royal sack or something with a potato chip bag in there. And when the leaves are dry, do that crunch like they're chasing. That's a cool tactic too. I would do that in a heartbeat. That's the more realistic you can make that stuff. Well, I'm not a real big fan of just doing that crazy fighting because I've never heard it in Alabama or anything. But I have seen them spar, and stuff. But
I had one
Now,
time.
when are you doing your calls and your rattles and all that stuff? Are you doing anything like that come October once they're hard horned, or are you waiting until the rut and after to start calling?
if I see scrapes or any kind of rubs, once they start doing that you can go ahead and do it. I'm a real big believer in that.
Okay.
Because they're already
Okay.
starting to push each other around. They're doing some of them still in bachelor group up until like here when Halloween hits. That's when things get serious about the pre-rut. The bucks are cruising looking for early does or something. But before then,
Yep.
once they get their velvet off, they're sparring and doing stuff like that. I would do that. That's and I know a buddy that does that a lot, and I'm thinking about might try it some more because as long as you don't, as long as it's natural, I don't think you're going to hurt them, So
Okay.
Yeah.
But as far as your grunt calling, you're waiting until rut time to do that.
Yeah, I am unless I see one because I can't.
Right.
I'm so limited on how I can hear. If I do blind calling, a mature buck is so dang sneaky that he's going to investigate and try to get downwind or whatever he hears, and I won't never see him. It's got to be the
Right.
perfect situation, so early season.
Right.
But
That exact thing
Okay.
happened to me, man. I mean, that's what I was saying before. You're talking about them being sneaky. and why I brought up Richard is I did that exact thing. Is I hit the bleat cans, did a little meh, and then hit the grunt in like a circle.
Uh-huh.
And I'm facing this field, and you know I'm seeing a bunch of squirrels, and I hear this noise behind me. I think it's a squirrel, so I'm not paying attention. And JD knows the story. I've told him it 1,000 times. I turn around, dude, and I swear the biggest deer I've ever seen, just massive, right?
Yeah.
15 yards behind my tree, looked right up at me and just gone.
Yeah.
And that was when I learned, I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this right. The calling works in the right time, but I mean, I went a whole year after that, man. I didn't see a single deer, didn't kill one, and I was just doing the calling thing, thinking it was going to work.
You gotta have some kind of position where they can't get behind you without you seeing them or having a shot. That's
Yeah.
and that's hard to do sometimes, you know. So
Yeah.
and then when that deer leave, did he blow when he left? Or he just take off.
No. So what he did is I turned around and all I did was peek my head around the tree and he saw the movement.
Right.
And so I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, it's the biggest deer I've ever seen. I'm trying to get my bow down. He's like 35 yards away. But the problem is the tree's in the way, so I couldn't even have, pulled back if I wanted to. But all he did, he just turned around. He spooked, but he didn't blow. He just turned around, ran off 20, 25 yards, and then just stood there and was staring at me. Licked his lips a little bit, looked forward, stared at me again, and just walked off. And you better believe after I got down, I went to the direction he went to, and I found rubs. I found it was super thick. So this season, I mean, this was 2 years ago, but this season I'm planning on putting some cameras over there mid-October. I don't know if he's still alive or not, but if he is, I can't even imagine how big he is. But yeah, I mean, he didn't blow. So
yeah, that's very rare the big buck will blow. Sometimes when they stop out there and he's licking his nose, he's trying to cinch you, and sometimes they wind you like that. They might do that one, just a deep blow and be off. But it's very rare the mature buck going to stand there and blow for 5 minutes, whatever. He's going to slip off, get out of there, verify what you are, then get way out. So,
what was weird about it is the wind was coming. So, like I said, I'm facing a field, and where this is there's so it's next to a pond. I was maybe 200 yards from where I parked at. Like this is not that deep, and I'm next to a pond. There's this little, like, I guess I call it a cut through. It's just a mix of pines, young pines and oaks and all of that. And then there's a trail that DNR cuts between two sections of woods. So I'm off the trail a bit. And I mean, literally, dude, the wind was blowing for some stupid reason. I thought I can set up here. It's fine. The wind's blowing this way, like going in front of me. So I'm already set up wrong. And he never, I mean, that's the weird thing. He never winded me. He just saw me and was like, what is that? And then ran off. But this was also my second year hunting, so I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet you set up right in his bed.
Because
you were upwind of him, and he was walking around, about to take a big crap in his normal area, and happened to see movement. And I guarantee you were in his.
So I could definitely see that. I mean, that's why I went there, because we scouted a couple weeks before. Me and a buddy of mine, we found big scrapes, huge rubs, and I just, like an idiot, I'm thinking, oh, he's going to come from the field, because watching. I'm from Illinois, so my mind instantly back then would jump to, all right, these deer are going to be in the field. I'm not thinking about morning time, they're going to bed. I'm thinking there's a field, the sun's up, deer. And it was cool.
You set up right in his bed. And that's one of the things that I listen to, and y'all may want to do it differently, or you may already do it differently. But me personally, I'm not setting up in a bedding area. I'll set up close, or 100, 200 yards away from it. But if I find a bedding area, I do not want to be I don't want to be within 50 yards of that bedding area.
I definitely don't. I don't like getting too close to them either. And I definitely don't want any kind of position where my wind is any chance of my wind blowing to that bedding area. So that's why I don't mess with them that much, So
yeah, like I said, I was new. I made the mistake. I learned from it though. So,
yeah. I mean, we've all made mistakes.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap this up, man, because we've been going a little bit over an hour. I don't want to hold you too long, but I do have a question. JD made me think about it. I've talked with I've talked with Kurt from Working Class Bow Hunter a couple times about bedding and all that stuff. and he made a point. I'm curious your opinion on it. He said that from what he's seen, not deer aren't going to go to the same bedding area every time. Have you noticed that where it's not like they've got one specific spot that they always bed in, that they're going to change it? Or do you usually see it in one specific spot most of the time?
Mature buck is not going to bed the same bed all the time. That's how he's still alive. He's like, like everybody trying to learn to be mobile hunter. He's a mobile bedder. He ain't going to get pattern like that, not in the South, up north, their bedding areas is limited. He might do that north, but in the South, So,
See, and that's what Kurt said. So I'm like, well, then how do you because I'm trying to understand how, guys like Dan Infalt and all that are able to find the buck bedding, and they make it sound like it's always, one specific section. Yeah. But if he changes it up, how do you know?
Yeah, and Dan
I don't think it's a specific section. I think it's specific to what that deer likes to bed in. He'll find that same kind of stuff and that same kind of privacy and security in different areas, but not the exact same area.
Yeah, and something I've only been up north a little bit, and from watching whatever, their deer, the bedding areas are limited, and the does and the bucks sometimes will bed in the same general area. And they're using each other as far as for watching people and stuff. So for our bucks, or what I've learned about our mature bucks here, is they don't hardly bed close to the does except during the rut. So they're away. They don't want any kind of pressure or any kind of anybody else messing with them. They just don't like being around a bunch of other deer, so they stay off. So that's my thoughts.
I had one story last year, Eric. You remember this one? I called you right after it, and I was all pumped up over this little bitty spike. But I climbed up in the stand. It was early morning, and I was hunting over a feed spot, and I was waiting on them to, sun come up, wait on thermals to rise, all that kind of stuff, wait on them to get up and, come check the feed out and all that kind of stuff, or work their way back to their bedding area and check the feed out. But I had this little bitty, he was a yearling, little bitty spike, but it got me excited, so I shot him. But he was bedded 30 yards behind me. And I had no idea. I climbed up my stand. I walked in there, everything making all kind of noise. I dropped my release down. It hit every single rung on the way down to the ladder. I went back down, climbed back up, and this is all still in dark with a flashlight on and a headlamp on. And I got back up in my stand, and then I turned around because I heard something, and I noticed this little yearling was bedded behind me at 30 yards. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. But I couldn't shoot him. He was in a bad spot, so I had to wait. But he textbook got up, come out to the feed spot, boom, got him. But that was my first time ever having a buck bed that close to me and still get a shot after making all the racket and huge mistakes that I made. He didn't care.
Yeah, that's not the people that do that. I'm so impressed. Now I know another guy that I'm friends with, Rendell Eric. He's in Iowa. He works for Osceola here now and stuff. But
awesome,
he's an awesome dude. He killed some monster bucks. He does that style. And last year, I don't think he killed a deer. But he's got bigger targets than like us. Basically. Yeah. But it's not as easy as everybody thinks to do that. These people can do it, but if it was easy, what fun would it be? I like challenges.
Right.
I like challenges. But it's fun. I'm sure it's so hard to do that. It's a hard pattern in the South, big woods, to try to do that for me. Yeah, somebody might be able to do it. But I can't do it. So it's just.
Yeah, I was not planning on doing that at all. I had no intentions of that. It just happened. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I've never in my life had a deer bed behind me and me make all this racket and it never get up or never even cared.
Yeah. Well, it was killing me too, man, because Joe, I don't know if you saw it, Joe Miles just got that South Carolina buck. So I messaged him, I'm like, man, I was like, how bad I want to be hunting right now. I was like, why you gotta do us like that? It's like you're just starting the season off that way now.
Yeah.
Now we gotta play catch up.
He's that's a good guy to talk to, Joe, too. I've talked to him at Chattanooga at that thing, and he's an awesome guy. I've got some of the gear this year to try out, and it's just their clothing and stuff is very impressive. I just ain't got to wear any hunting yet, but I'm sure it's going to be great. It's dang super quiet too. That material they make out of is so quiet, and the pattern is cool. But he's a dang big buck killer, and he done, he made a great decision. Talking Rendell into start working for him and stuff, and doing some of them shows, and I think they're going to film some hunts and stuff. So that's going to be cool. They're going to put out some awesome stuff. So, but them people like that then are very impressive. So
Oh yeah.
Everybody can learn from people like that, especially I don't. That's another thing I kind of suggest to tell everybody: don't get too tunnel vision. Listen to a variety of different podcasts or different shows. It's kind of some of it, where people got big farms and stuff. Some of that's kind of hard to duplicate in the South.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a whole different style of hunting. But a lot of that other stuff, man, you can learn. Like like I said, Troy Pottinger, Richard Fott, the older guy out of Carolina. I can't think of his name. I just met him this year. But anyway, people like that that's got all that experience that went through the old way. We didn't. Like when I grew up hunting, all that what magazines we had to read was Outdoor Life, and none of it pertained to anything in the South. So you're learning the hard way. But now there's so much information out there that, man, you can don't get overwhelmed with it, but take bits and pieces of it and apply it to your style of hunting that you think will work. So there's plenty of people to listen to and just read or whatever. So
well, like I listen to what you have to say, what like Joe Miles. I mean, we've been affiliated with them for what, JD, like 8 months now, and I feel bad.
Almost a year.
Yeah, I feel bad whenever I text Joe and I'm like, "Hey man, what do you think about this?" I'm like, I'm probably bothering this dude so bad. But he's always cool enough to respond and give advice. And like I said, it's got him, you, the Seek One guys, Suburban Bow Hunter. I mean, there's so many people around this area now that just 5 years ago I didn't know anything. I was doing the same thing. I'm listening to the Meat Eater podcast where they're talking about Wisconsin and Iowa bucks. I'm like, oh well, let me try that, and it doesn't work because it's all ag up there, or for the most part.
Right.
So you're right, man. It's totally different, now that we've got, voices like yours and the Southern Outdoorsman guys, where you can actually listen to the podcast and you can learn how to hunt the South, not take what they do up north and try to manipulate it down here.
Right. Yeah. So another thing kind of outside of the, hunting world for a minute. I saw you up at the show, how at the World Deer Expo. How'd your wife do with the purses?
I think she sold 2 there or something. She's got got some still for sale. She's still making some. She just made one other day. I can see some of them here. She just made one other day. It's got skunk tail for the lid. I think it's pretty neat. So she's still, yeah. So she makes
That's cool.
Yeah. There's some cool purses. It takes a lot of time, and she does some hard work, and they're all natural and they're all handmade. And she's doing good with them. It's just it ain't.
That's good. That's good to hear, man.
She ain't selling a whole bunch of them. A lot of people don't even know about them. We don't really advertise it much, but they're very neat. They're all one of a kind. So I'm very proud of what she can come up. She come up with stuff in her head. It's amazing. So, and I'm looking for her to get a big buck before too long and just
there you go.
Shock the world, because she had a 190 on her one time with a crossbow and she just couldn't make the shot happen. And
man,
yeah. So she's getting close. So it's gonna happen one day. So and y'all just be ready.
That's gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah. You might have just given me a Christmas idea. Get my wife a skunk purse. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, you better let me know, because they ain't one of them. So
we got time. Yeah, I'll definitely let you know that, man. Well, look, we're running a little long on this, but man, I've enjoyed this. I really, really have. The amount of info that you've given, I think, I'm just gonna say it. If me and JD, or just me or just him or whatever, if any of us kill a big deer on public, I'm gonna have to give you some of the credit. You taught us a lot.
Well, I appreciate that.
I mean, I feel like what better guy to talk to about public land hunting with big bucks. I mean, you've definitely proven that you know what you're doing. So I guess before we sign off here, man, like what's the plans for this season? What are you planning on going to do? Are you going out of state? I mean, what's coming?
We're planning on going to Missouri, which I'll start here, the end of September for a few days. But we're planning on going to Missouri on public land around the end of October, first week of November, and try that for a little bit, bow hunting public land. So give that a shot, then come back and do our Alabama stuff. But Missouri is the only plans I've got this year from going out of state. But I'm going to try to every year try to do something like that somewhere different. I've got 2 preference points for Iowa now. I bought a preference point for Kansas. I've got a bunch of elk points in Wyoming. I think I got like 11 points, 11 or 12 elk points in Wyoming and some mule deer points. So my wife's getting some antelope points. We used to go out there a bit, but it's been about 10 years since we've been. So she wants to get antelope. So over the next couple of years, I'm going to start, doing some more stuff as I get older, try to knock some of this stuff out. Really love to get back to Alaska and do something else, or a couple things, sometime or another. But I'm trying to branch out a little bit more on the whitetail and some different, big buck states, just because when I went to Iowa a couple years ago, late season, that's a cool place. It was cold. I was like, man, I ain't never been that cold before, but there's some deer there, and it's very interesting, and I would love to get back there on an archery hunt, so I'm buying points for that. And Kansas is another one interesting, so I'm buying points for that too. So.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna have to get back up there to Alaska and get you another dinosaur tooth. I mean,
Well, what I was going to say is,
there.
if you plan to go to Alaska, let me know. We'll go knock down some caribou.
Okay,
Knock that off the list.
that would be cool now. So
That'd be awesome, dude. Look, man, thank you for coming on, dude. Like I said, you taught us a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, this one, when I told JD that you were coming on, I'm like, bro, we've got a legend coming. And he's like, who? I'm like, Michael Perry. And then ever since then, I've been counting it down. I was so excited when you said you could still do it, because I know it's been a couple weeks since we talked. But yeah, man, thank you. Seriously, this was great.
Well, I appreciate that, and that's one thing I always want to try to do, is try to help anybody, the best we can. Doing these, and talking to y'all. That's how we get to know each other. We're a tight community, and that sharing that knowledge and helping each other out is what it's about. I don't want to be.
This community's got to stay together.
Yeah, for sure.
I've caught crap over the years about posting pictures about, spotlighting public areas and stuff. And that's, to me, if that buck is not seen and the area is not promoted, how do you know it? I mean, to me, if you show an area what the potential is, then that gives people hope, and then they'll pass more younger bucks, or they'll have, or be able to see.
Oh, I think we're losing you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. No. It's like super low. That's a little better.
Yeah, I don't know, but I just caught, to promote, seeing these big deer get killed and where they're at, that gives people, hey, it can be done. The potential there is, don't hide anything, So I've got, like you heard me say, but the book, I had the sign that I had the land come from. I just see, how do you know what potential is? People see it.
Yeah.
But it's just, we can't be negative about each other, negative about how people hunt. I don't care what you hunt with, what you shoot, whatever you enjoy it, and share that, share how you help other people. If not, it's our job to manage and manage these animals and enjoy it. So if not, it's going good.
Yeah.
Amen, man.
Agree, man.
Amen to that.
I completely agree. Man, I could tell you a 30-minute story about something to do with that, but I'll just have to text it to you. But yeah, man, look, thank you. And we're gonna have to do this again soon. All right. I'm gonna keep up with what you're doing. And the first giant you kill the next week, we're gonna have you on.
All right. Don't jinx me.
I'm not. I'm what's the word? I'm prophesying right now. You're gonna do it. I got full faith.
I appreciate y'all having me on. Appreciate y'all's work. Keep it up. Keep sharing the knowledge and keep sharing y'all's adventures, man. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
Have y'all.
See you, Mike.
Thank you. Have a good.
Southeastern Bow Hunter Podcast.